Hi, here today with our little chick pattern that I'd promised. Very quick, very simple amigurumi style chicken. Now here are my materials. Pop chicken to one side, a good quality safety toy stuffing. Make sure it's the good stuff. Double knit yarn of 2 colours, but only a little bit for the beak, but this is the main body. We have a little flower embellishment if required. 2 6mm safety eyes, pair of scissors, 3.5mm crochet hook, 2 different needles, one for sewing on detail, one for sewing up yarn, and some sewing cotton for those details. Now most of that I can put to one side, so bear with me while I do that, because all we need is the yellow to get started. We'll pop little chick there so you can see. Oh, it's fallen over a little bit. There we go. And let's get going. Oh, I would if my yarn wasn't tied up. Right, here we go. We're going to start with that slip knot. Not too tight on the hook, remember. We want to make sure it is comfortable to work with. Like with all my amigurumi I work with, I'm going to start with 2 chain. And then into that first chain, we're going to have 6 double crochets. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. Tighten up the slip knot. If you're not sure where the first one is, count from the back. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6, because it's quite often not where we expect. People want to go here, but it's actually here. So that's why if you count from the back, you're more likely to get an accurate positioning. Now we're going to do 2 double crochets into each one of these stitches. First one's always a bit awkward to get into. So we have the 1, 2, 3, 4, 2 more, 5 and 6. As I said, these are double crochets. They are UK terms, so please remember that. But most amigurumi is done in double crochet UK term anyway, so you'd probably work out that that is the stitch that I was using. I'm going to move the yellow over because it's sort of distracting from the work a little bit. That's a little bit better. We're going to go on to our next round. There is actually only 16 rounds in total for the body, so it's not a great deal to have to do. On our next one, we're going to do 2 DCs, double crochets into the first one, and then just 1 double crochet into the next one, giving us a 6 increase. So here we go. So that's 1. There we go. This is the second double one, as in 2 stitches in one, and a single stitch into that one. 2 into the next one. This is our third one. 1 into the next one. This is number 4. So a 2, and then a 1 to follow. That was 5. 1 more. And that's our first increase round. So we've increased by 6 stitches, so we should actually have 18 stitches now. The next round is very similar, but we're going to do 2 double crochets into the first one, and then 1 double crochet into the following 2. So we're still increasing by 6. So there's a 1, then we have 2 single ones, as in double crochets. 2 double crochets in this one, 1 double crochet in the next 2. So that's 2. 2 double crochets in the next one, 1 double crochet in the next 2. That's 3. The only thing is when I'm talking I lose count. That is 4. So we've got number 5. So we have 2 double crochets into the next one, 1 double crochet into the next 2. Last time, so 2 double crochets into this one, 1 double crochet into the next 2. So now, as I say, we've increased by 6, so we should have 24 now. Now that is actually literally the base. That is the little bottom there, as you can see. Now the next section is really simple. All we're going to be doing is double crochet rounds all the way around. So this is where, if you want a stitch marker, please get one. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little bit of this darker yellow or orange yarn, and I'm going to just slip it in with my crochet hook. But as I say, you can pop your stitch marker in of whatever type you've got. That's split, but it doesn't matter. There we go. So it just marks where we're going to start, so it's less need for counting. There is actually now 4 rows. Just keep going around 4 times. So every time you get back to that marker, it is number 1. I will try and get round these as quickly as I can. As I say, it's a very quick make. Great little Easter gift. I know it's a little bit last minute for Easter, but a little chick looks cute at any time. Very spring. Right, this around the first one. I will try and speed up a little bit. Those of you who know what you're doing can clearly just sort of fast forward until I've got to the end of these 4 rounds. So of course I'm just coming up to my marker. There it is. Maybe 1 more stitch. That's my first round. So I need 3 more. So let's get round these nice and quickly. I think I'll probably be able to get this done in about half an hour. Obviously, if you're a little bit more of a beginner, it may take you a little bit longer. If you're more experienced, it may even be quicker for you. It's always worse when somebody's watching you, though. You can guarantee you're going to go wrong. Right, we're on our second one now, almost at that marker. There we go, so that's the second one. So we're going for our third round now. It's quite quick. The actual pattern, I will put a link below. I did try and add the pattern last time to the YouTube, but there's not enough space, or there's not enough characters allowed for me to do that. So I have actually popped it on a blog spot that I've got. So I'll pop the link there and it takes you straight to it. So it's easy enough to find. Any problems though, if you have tried to find it and you get no luck, just give me a shout, leave me a message, and we'll try and sort out the pattern for you. There we go. It is a free pattern, of course, because obviously you can see me making it now, so the pattern does have to be free anyway. But it's always good to have a free pattern. Almost round on that third one. Then move my yarn up. So that's round 3. My final round now. You can see it's turning into like a little basket now. You can see the little shape. Here's the little chicken's bottom. Very similar to the amigurumi kokeshi doll that I made. In fact, to be honest, most amigurumi does follow the same system. So as soon as you've done a couple of items, you can sort of learn to sort of add bits and change bits and shape bits, and you'll start to create your own little sort of critters or dollies or whatever you're making. Let's have a look, we're nearly round there. Let's keep it in line with the camera. I'm slowly getting used to it because my camera's higher now. I have to remember to keep having a check where I actually am. So you can see the shaping coming. Now that is your 4 rounds, so it's almost like a little basket at this point. We're actually going to do a decrease row. Now I've talked about decreasing on previous videos, but again, if you're not sure, all it is 2 stitches together for 1 decrease. So you start your DC, but you don't finish it. You go into your next one. You should end up with 3. We pull it through all 3. Tighten it up. Do tighten it up because it can be loose and it can leave your work wholly if you're not careful with that. And then we're going to do 1 double crochet in the next 2. And that's going to be times 6. So that was 1 set. So we're going to have a decrease. So remember, we should end up with 3. Pull it through. Then 1 and a 1. So that's 2. So we're going to have a decrease, and we're going to have 1 double crochet in the next 2. We're going to have a decrease, 1 double crochet in each of the next 2. We can have a decrease, we've got 1, and we've got 2. Now, as you can see, we're not quite round, but remember these stitch markers can move. So I do have to do 1 more. Let's see if I've counted right. Right, so I'm going to move my stitch marker now, especially when you've done a decrease or an increase, it will alter its position. So you do really need to move it up maybe what, every three, 4 rows. I mean, the more you do it, the less you have to do that. So I've popped my yarn back in place because again, we're the same as we were last time. We're going to have 4 rounds. We've got less stitches now, so it should be a little bit quicker. All this decrease row's done is created a very small sort of indentation roughly where his wings are going to sit, because it just gives it a little bit of a shape rather than it just looking like an egg. I mean, it's not much different to an egg, to be honest. In fact, you could use the pattern just to make little Easter eggs. If you put a little bit of extra stuff in it, it stretches it out. And there we go, that's 1 round. I told you it would only take a second or 2. Oh, dropped off the hook. 2nd round. We should at this point actually have, let me double check, 18 stitches again. As I've said before, don't overly worry about it. If you've got 1 stitch out, amigurumi is very forgiving. That's our 2nd one. 3rd round coming up. Just 1 double crochet into every single stitch. You can see it's getting a little bit tighter to hold now. We're not going to be far off putting our eyes in. When we've done these 4 rounds, we're going to be looking at maybe positioning for those eyes. Again, it's up to you when you actually put them in, or the positioning of where you want them. There we go. We've got 1 more round to go. Last countdown. As soon as I do get round now, I can get these eyes in. A couple more stitches. There we are, we're round. Right, so I'm going to leave that as the back. So I'm going to turn it round and my little eyes are going to go in here somewhere at the front. Now, I'm using 6mm eyes. You can use larger if you wish. It depends what sort of look you're wanting for your chicken. So I'm going to just place them in, make sure I'm happy with their placement. I think that's about similar. If I line them up, it's about the same as it was last time. Just making sure you've got enough space to sew in a little beak there. A little bit fiddlier than before because it's a bit smaller to get into. So post sticking up, safety fasteners for these particular ones, it's dome up. They do wobble about a little bit when you're putting them on, so be careful. There we go, you can hear the clicks as it goes in. Now what have I done with that second safety bit? It would be useful. What have I done? Oh. Can anybody see it? Can anybody see it? No, they can't. Right, bear with me 2 seconds there. Right, cannot see it anywhere. I bet you can all see it. I bet you're going, it's there, but I've absolutely no idea what I've done with it. It was there. Right, well, I'm going to be a little bit naughty because I can undo this after I've shown this to you guys. So I'm not going to fasten the second one on. What I'll do is when I finish, undo it, find myself a new clip and put it on. But just for demonstration purposes, just pretend I've put that other one on. We've only got a couple of rounds before Little Chicken's going to be finished. Our next round is a decrease round again, and all you're going to do is we're decreasing by 3. So you're going to do 2 DCs together and then 1 DC in the next 4. Let's just hope his eye doesn't drop out now. So 2 together. 1, 2, 3 and 4. So that's number 1. There's only 3 of these. So 2 together. 2, 3, 4. I'm actually wondering whether it's dropped inside the chicken. I'll give it a shake in a second. So 1, remember this will have moved, so don't worry too much about that. 3, 2, 3 and 4. Right, I'm going to take the stitch marker out actually because we don't really need it. Get it out of the way because let me give this a little shake just in case it's dropped inside. I've probably flicked it across the floor somewhere. No, it's not in there. Never mind. Right, so as I say, we're pretending they are fixed in for now. So that has brought our stitches down, and we're going to do just one more for decreasing, and then we're going to try and stuff. Again, you can stuff now, or if you're happy sort of stuffing it into a smaller hole, that's fine. So I'm going to do 2 together. But this time instead of 4, it's going to be 3. 1, 2 and 3. That's 1 decrease. 2 together. 1, 2 and a 3. You see how small this hole's getting. 2 together. 1, 2 and 3. Right, I am now going to put the stuffing in. It is a little bit small, perhaps, that hole. Perhaps I should have stuffed it a little bit earlier. But again, as long as you can easily, you know, I've seen it. Look at this, look at that. How can we not have seen that? Ta-da! I'll still do it later because I'm not going to get my fingers in there to do this. So let's just shove any spare yarn that's in there. And we'll get our toy stuffing. As I say, make sure it is a good safety grade. And as I've also mentioned before, I know these are safety eyes, but think about the age of sort of the person receiving it. If they are younger, it might be worth just stitching the little eyes on rather than actually using the safety eyes. They are safety, that's the whole point of them. But I still worry a little bit, especially if you've got younger ones that are still chewing things or they put things in the mouth. You've got to be careful. Right, I'm going to stuff that. Look, you can see the eyes coming out now because I've not done it, but as I say, we're pretending at the moment. I will undo it afterwards and make sure it's nice and secure. Right, as far as the decreasing is concerned now is the easy peasy bit. We're just doing 2 double crochets together all the way around. So that's 1. Always pull it tight, we don't want holes. 2 together. Pull it tight. It looks funny because his eyes popping out. 2 together. 2 together. All the way around till it's almost closed. If you can't do those last couple of stitches, you can just stitch the work up using your needle by threading it round. So in we are. So I'm going to cut that off now. In fact, I'll do a slip stitch last, just to hold it a little bit flatter. There we go, and pull it through. Now, as you can see, poor little thing's eyes coming out, so I will try and poke that back in, give you an idea. Give it a little roll. I always find that's best with the amigurumi. And you can see we have a little base for our little chickie's body. It's come out a little bit smaller, but that just, as I say, sometimes comes down to tension or stuffing, because I've not overstuffed it because the eye's going to come out, and I've not tightened it because I need to undo it afterwards. So I'm going to pop him there. Now, as far as the wings are concerned, they could not be any easier. I'm not going to go through too much detail for that. There is only 2 rounds. Starts exactly the same as the bottom. 2 chain. Then just 6 double crochets into that first chain. Now 3, 4, 5 and 6, and then remember to check where number 1 is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. It's over here. Just 2 double crochets into each one. 1, 2, 3, 4, just 2 more, 5 and 6. Right, just tighten up there. So obviously we don't want a little hole in the middle. I'm going to do a slip stitch at the end, just flattens it off, just flattens the work off a little bit, and I'm just going to fasten off. I'm not going to do the other wing for you because you don't need to watch me doing it twice, but basically obviously he needs 2 little wings. So that is the little wing. I sew it on using this little bit here. So I sew this in, just thread it through and then snip it off, and then I use this part here to actually do the stitching on. Now, as I said, there was a certain point we decreased and it's somewhere around here, but again you can decide where you want the little wing to go. So it's approximately there. Now I will just stitch this one on even though I haven't sewn the ends in, although I could sew the ends in, I suppose. It would only take a second. Sewing up needle, optional. Whatever sort of size, should I say, is up to you. I like a nice point on mine, but the only problem with a nice point, it means it's usually a smaller hole, so it can make it a little bit easier. But by having a point, you're not damaging your yarn as much when you're pushing it through. So I'm just going to take this round a few times, make sure it's not going anywhere. This is the underside of the wing that I'm stitching it into. Oh, if I can, there we go. So maybe one more. So I'm always worried about things coming undone. And snip it off. Now using the other end to sew in, it is a nice simple, maybe 3 to 4 stitches depending on how worried you are about it coming off. But 3 or 4 should be more than enough. So as I say, where we've sewn in was the underneath, that is my top. It helps it curve out that way as well. If you do it the other way, it sits to the body, like that way. So if you want it really close to the body, that's one way you could do it. But if you do it that way, it'll flip out, which I quite think is cute. Right, so I'm going approximately in line with his eyes. Pull it up. Just stitching in 1 there. I'll go for 3, 1 in the middle, and 1 on the outer. Now my next stitch is to just knot it off. There we go. I would do that twice, but as I said, because I've got to take it undone because I need to put the other safety part on his eye, I'm not going too far. So basically you can see how the little wing flips up. Doing a wing on the other side, exactly the same. And we can have a little flower if you wish to be sewn on the top, or you could do maybe if you've got a little bow tie, that might be quite cute. To actually sew the beak, again, these ends should really be sewn in, but just for demonstration purposes, I'm going to use the orange, and all it is again is 4 stitches. I'm going to show you this because not everybody likes doing the sewing part, or they're a little bit unsure about doing it. You could use felt to make him a little beak. You could do all sorts of things. Basically, I'm going through the back, and I'm going to the point where I want his beak to be, the bottom of his beak, and I'm going to pull it through, or maybe pull it through too hard. I mean, no, it's not big enough. Right, be careful. There we go, it's through, so you can't see it on the back. Now I know I want it approximately between his eyes, so I'm going to choose one of the holes there, and then I've gone in there, and I'm going to go down back to the same hole, back up. So I'll keep going back into the same hole. There, yeah, and you see that? I'm going to come back up the top. So we've got 3 lines into a V shape, that's all it is. And then just to finish it off, I'm going to do 1 across the top. For yourself, before you start doing all this, sew all your ends in, it does make life easier. And 1 across the top. That, so you can see. So it was just 1, 2, 3, always coming into the same point here, and 1 across the top for your little chickie. Hopefully, all your ends sewn in, you should end up with a little chicken. For some reason, mine likes to be waving, so she's got a little arm up like that. Good luck with making it. Any problems, please ask. Most things can be sorted out nice and simply. Any problems with the pattern, if you see any errors, because sometimes when you're typing it can happen, please let me know so I can adjust it. Please like, share, subscribe, show me some pictures of these chickens, and hope to see you soon, and have a great Easter. Bye.